Okay, hello everyone. Very good morning and good evening. Parminder here. Welcome to SAP S4HANA production planning training sessions. So, guys, today our trainer for the training is Mr. Vasu. And just 5 minutes back, Mr. Vasu got emergency call, and he's actually in the meeting, but he's a silent participant today because he need to go through one production go live. So right now he's going through a production go live and also attending another meeting. So he would be there as a silent participant today. So taking this emergency, I would be conducting today's session, and I would be taking forward from where we have done last. I would be taking forward ahead from there. Okay, so this is just very start of our SAP S4HANA production planning training. What we in last session or in the demo session, we had just gone through what is the overall production planning, and in last session we have gone through the functional specifications, and we have also gone through the gap analysis, that how the gap analysis happened. And we have also got some of the feedback from the people who are freshers. We got a feedback that they need to understand a little bit more basics. Okay, so I would be covering a little bit more of the basics today, and then we'll go ahead to the enterprise structure and the configurations part in our next session. Yes, you will be getting these slides. So the first thing I'm going to cover here, I will show you that what all you are going to get in this training. In this training participation, what all things you are going to get. I'm not going to cover the curriculum part. The curriculum part, you all would be already knowing it. Okay, but overall in a package, what are the things you're going to get, that I would quickly show you. We have a lot of stuff to offer. So just give me a minute. Let me go to our website, sastrageek.com. So you all might have gone through this, registered through this our registration page. So I'm going ahead with the production planning. So this is our basic production planning course, and you get all the things, details from here, that what are the things we are offering. The curriculum details, if you want to get it, curriculum is already put it there. I'm not going here one by one to explain the curriculum, but this is the curriculum which would be covered in this training. And what are the other stuff you will be getting? So the participant who have already enrolled, you have already got a link to the Google Classroom. So you will be getting a classroom link. Let me go into the first page. So this kind of classroom link you will be getting, Google Classroom, and all the materials would be shared through the Google Classroom. So we have a multiple classroom, we have a multiple trainings going on, Ariba, TM, previous batches of PP, simple logistics, sourcing, procurement, sales, multiple trainings are going on. So you are in this classroom, PP classroom. So once you enrolled, you will be getting a link for this. And within that, there is a first page is a stream page. So here you would be seeing any notification we need to send it, we'll be sending it from here. And you will be getting automatic notifications on your emails. Then we have a classwork here. In classwork, you would be getting all the details, the session recordings, the PPTs, or the assignments, everything we put into the classrooms. So if you want to go through the previous session recording, so you can just click it here, and this covers that what are the things we have covered in the last session. And you can just click on this place to basically go ahead and enter into the video of the session. The same way, there would be a separate tab you will be seeing here, where basically assignments would be put it. There would be one more session notes or the presentation also. We would be putting it here, and you would be able to go from here. Okay, if you want to see that the session meeting links, how you can get the session meeting links. So here is the Google Calendar. So this Google Calendar can sync with your calendar, and you would be seeing, and you will also getting the notifications from the Google Calendar also that the meeting is going to start. So in Google Calendar, you can see here the PP basic training 8 to 10 p.m. right? And from there, when you will click it, you will be able to get the Zoom link, Zoom meeting links. So there can be a same meeting links, and after a few sessions, there we also do the changes in the meeting links. So anytime if you want to join, anytime if you want to check that which link I need to join the session, that would be through the classroom. You can come into your calendar, you can click it here, and then you will be getting your link. So this is how you can get your links. This is how you can go through this materials which has been provided. And we have a lot of other things also on our website. I will just quickly show you. We have a video blog, and then we have a YouTube channel. In YouTube also, every day, almost every day, we are putting one video related to SD, MM, PP, sourcing, procurement, Ariba, EWM. So many videos are there. More than 200 videos are there. All are free. So you can also check our YouTube channel from there. And one very good thing is there is the blog. Okay. So this is a blog. In the blog, we have so many people have written so many different blogs in the different area, and very neatly, nicely, and cleanly, very good information has been put it there. So many blogs and the articles are available. That access also you would be getting up with this training. And you can go through the blog. So let's say you want to know the generic stuff on SAP S/4HANA, right? So I have gone to here the generic stuff. So if you just interested that what are the different interfaces we have, what is NWBC, what is Fiori, Ashish has written a beautiful blog here. So you can also go through this blog, where basically we have explained that what kind of different interfaces we have, what is NWBC, what is Fiori, what is GUI interface. So that also has been explained in very neat and clean manner. So all of these things is part of the package. Okay. Then if you want to enhance your knowledge, you can go to the FICOs and you can go to the multiple stuffs, multiple blocks here. TM block is there, PP is there, generic stuff, all we have covered here. And then we have a PP block here that is specific to the production planning. So this is just an example. Ashish has written another blog, end-to-end basic process flow and production planning. So we have covered here end-to-end basic process flow, how the production planning process flow would be happening with the very neat and clean flow charts has been given, followed by actual slides or actual screenshot from the SAP with all the detail of which transaction code you need to do. So this will help you a lot in your hands-on exercise. So we give the hands-on exercise, and then we also share these blogs, which will be helping you out to give you a complete stuff. Sometime what will happen, you want to go through the production planning cycle, but that has been covered in the 2 hours of 2 sessions. So 4 hours of video you need to see, but you want to quickly grasp that what actually end-to-end thing is there. So these blogs can help you. You can go through this blog, and it would be a 10 minutes, or this is a 15 minutes read. You can quickly go through, browse through, and it can refresh. These blogs are very helpful for preparing it for the interviews. Okay, if you're preparing for the interviews, you can just quickly go through these blogs before the interview, and a lot of knowledge will be refreshed for you. Okay, so this we have. Apart from that, you will also be getting access to our forum. So in forum, we have 2 categories. This is a free category. Okay, where basically anybody can go and put the questions, and people can also comment and answer. This is only for the enrolled people. So people who has enrolled would be getting this access to this category also, where you would be able to. So what happened that this training is going to happen on Saturday and Sunday. Okay, apart from that, Saturday and Sunday, on the another days, what is going to happen on the another days when you are doing a practice, you will be having a lot of questions, right? And we don't want you to miss those questions which you're getting when you are practicing it. So you can put it here and put your question and queries here. Okay, so multiple people has put it different things here, and a few things you will see that already has been answered. So this is a query which has been posted related to Fiori tiles. So same way you can also post your queries and questions here, which comes during the offline, and you can also do a search here. So if you're looking for some query, and you can first search here whether it has been already answered. If it has been already answered, you can see that what solution has been provided for it. So many queries has been raised by people, and it has been already answered. Just give me a minute, guys. Just a minute. So you will also be getting access to this forum, and you would be able to post your question queries to the forum. Apart from that, you will also be getting the access to the books. So books would be shared through the Google Drive, and from there you would be able to access the books also. Okay, this is SAP standard books. Access would be there from your Google Drive. So that is the complete package we have, which we would be provided, and a lot of stuff is there which you would be able to go through it. I would proceed ahead, and we would be going ahead with our today's topic. But before I jumping into our today's topic, if you guys have any question before we start, you can ask it.
Hey, Parminder, Rajveer here. If you can share all the links what you showed us in the email to enroll students, that would be really helpful. I mean, we went through that, but there were so many links, correct? So if you can just give the description, what it is, and the link in a single email, that we act as a placeholder if you want to refer these links in the future during the course of the training. So because there are so many links you showed, we might miss some of them. That's why.
Yeah, Rajveer. So what we basically do is, if you will go to the classroom has placeholder for that.
Okay, but no, but the links what you showed on your website, like these are the what should I say? This is the forum. This is the place where we can ask questions. So classroom is good enough, but all the other links what you showed.
I got disconnected in between. So what I was saying, within the classroom, we have a topics, and in topics the things is there, and this is a placeholder where all the different things you will be getting. So let's say here I have explained you how you can access. There is a forum available, right? So we have posted a
Okay.
document here, which will guide you that how actually you can get access to this forum. Okay, you might not, when you are clicking, you might not be able to get the access, or where you need to go and where you need to click. So complete guide documents would be available here. Okay, the same way how you can do the access to this. So this is available, and the more links also will be putting it here. So I will
Parminder,
also do one thing.
Parminder, I think what Rajveer is asking is that, Rajveer, so to answer your question, you'll get all the links once you go to the Sastra Geek website. So there are no different links. You just go to the website, and then you'll get all those different tabs like video blogs, YouTube channel, everything is there. So you just have to go to the website. I think that is it.
I agree, but within the website, if I have to hover and what is, okay, I think this one is also clarifies what Parminder is mentioning here. So I think how to raise questions, it is there. So
Yeah, so what we also do that when we are covering this topic, so whatever the blogs which is related to topic, we will be putting a link here also in the topic also. So in the production planning, the today's session I'm covering, and if there's a blog which is related to that, we'll also send in the topic that you can also read to that blogs. And once you have clicked there, once you have gone to the blogs page, then you can explore it from there, multiple things. So that things also we'll be doing, that the blogs links would be here. And if you find that some more generic stuff, generic links need to be provided, I will create one more document and I will put a placeholder on the top so you can quickly access from here itself. Okay, guys, any other question before we jump and start the session?
Parminder, just one quick question. By SAP standard books, you meant the T books like the T421 and 422? Are those, or is that what you meant?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
I can show you a glimpse of it. Just give me a minute. Let me show you that how.
Yeah, sure. That will help.
That books, we will not be sharing a link for the books. Okay, books, I will show you how you will be able to get the books. To get the books, what you need to do, you need to go to your Google Drive. Just give me a minute. Okay, just give me a minute. Yeah, you need to go to the Google Drive. Okay, whatever the email address, the Google email address you have provided to us, there you need to go into this shared with me. In shared with me, you will be seeing a folder for the SAP books. Okay, I need to search my folder here. So many things has been shared with me. So here you would be sharing a folder where basically all the SAP PP related books would be there. This is the SAP books which has been shared with me. So this kind of folder you will also see. So here you would be getting access to the PP related books. Yeah, this is the, so this CTS 422. So these kind of books you would be getting it from here.
And Parminder, the access for all these will be 1 year, right? The videos and the books and all.
No, the books you would be able to download it, and the videos and all other stuff, the access would be there for 1 year.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so this is how you would be, only the books access would be different. It would be shared with you on the Google Drive. So you need to go into your Google Drive, shared with me, and from there you will see one of the folder for the SAP books, and from there you would be able to access the books. Apart from that, everything will be controlled through the Google Classroom.
Hey, Parminder, 1 year from the course of ending the course or starting the course? Like if the course goes 3 months.
Ending the course.
Okay.
Okay, guys. So if you don't have any further question, I'm moving ahead, and we'll start our today's topic. So I will be covering a topic. So the same thing. So we have a multiple trainers. Myself as a trainer, I do the PP, SD, MM, all kind of trainings I do. Then we have Mr. Vasu, and we have Mr. Pankaj. Okay, so if Mr. Vasu is not available, then on emergency basis, I would be taking the sessions, or Pankaj can also take the session. So I will take you through the full things today. So let's start with the basics. So what I would be doing, I will be covering some part, and then we will be open for the question and answers, right? So I would be putting you guys on a mute for some time, and I will be covering my part, and then we'll go ahead with the question and answer stuff. So let's jump into the topic without wasting time. So let me go to the presentation deck. Some basic guidelines here, guys. Please make yourself, you're muted yourself, even though we have given the access to unmute. Still, make sure if your question has been asked, you put yourself on mute. If you get stuck with anything, this is our reach out. You can just drop an email with support@shastrageek.com, any question queries, or you can also drop a WhatsApp message to this number. Okay, both things are accessible. Let's start the topic now. So our training is, I will first thing I will do for you guys, I will decode our training. Okay, what do you mean? I will decode our training. We are learning here SAP S/4HANA production planning basics. This is what we are going to learn here in this training, right? So I'm going to decode that so that you can fully understand what actually we are learning. Okay, so that the basics also has been covered, and you will also be knowing that what exactly we are going to learn in this training. So first and the most important thing here, which you will see in this, is SAP, right? So first thing you need to know that what is SAP. Most of the people, or many of the people, would already be knowing, but I will just put a little bit of emphasis so that you guys can understand what actually is SAP. SAP is nothing but it's a kind of a ERP, enterprise resource planning tool. Now, why we need a ERP? Okay, why ERPs are required? Because if you see the full end-to-end industry, so what happens in an end-to-end industry? Okay, you would be having some starting from buying. You will be buying some, let's say, raw materials. Then once the raw material has been bought, you would be having your inventory. You will be managing your inventory. Then you would be using this material to do the production. And then you would be going ahead with the sales or distribution at high level. So this is any industry you go, you will be seeing these functions. We buy the material, we store the inventory, we produce, we again store the inventory, we sales it. In between, so many things will come in the enterprise. There can be a quality management would come here, quality inspections will come here. You can also have for your machineries, you can also have a plant maintenance, which will come here. And all of these things are linked with each other. All of these things are linked with each other. Okay, so this is in the full industry. When we do it, all of these things would be linking to one another. So in an industry, if I want to manage all of the things, I want to I want to manage my sourcing, procurement, my buying operations, I want to manage my inventory, I want to plan my materials, I want to plan how the productions happened, how the manufacturing would be happening, and everything all together. This thing would be linked with the one single thing and very important thing, with your finance. Because at end of the at end, everybody is interested at how much profit I am making from this business. Okay, whatever the business I am doing, whatever the operations I am doing, what are my financial books? Financial books are also important from the legal perspective, and it's also important because I want to know that what kind of profits we are making, what is my balance sheet. So all of this also need to link with your accounts. Everything need to link with your accounts, and you need to also get your financial reporting. So this is the full enterprise. Now to manage this enterprise, we need some solution, right? We need some solution where basically I would be able to do all of the things, and I would be having an insight of each and everything. Okay, I would be getting all of the things, and I would be having insights of each and everything. That's what I need, and that's what the terminology is, ERP. So what are the ERP softwares we are having? One of the biggest software, the world market leader is SAP. Okay, but we have another third-party softwares also available. We have a BAN ERP, we have a Oracle ERP. There are some specific ERPs will be there, which handles not full end-to-end things they will provide, but they handle the some part of it. Let's say you can say that Coupa is there. Earlier we were having Ariba. Ariba has been now taken over by SAP, so it's part of the SAP. Coupa provide you some solution for in enterprise, some solution for sourcing and procurement part. They provide some solution. Then Oracle have their Oracle have there, and then we have also Microsoft MSD. Microsoft Dynamics is also there as a ERP. But these all ERP are the smart ERP, small ERP, or some providing to them smaller part of it. If you see a ERP system, which you can think about, you think about the planning, you think about manufacturing, inventory, buying, sourcing, sales and distributions, plant maintenance, in your warehouse management, all the functions coming together in an integrated way. The best the best software or best solution for this is SAP. SAP is the best solution because it has all the modules available, and all the modules also come with their best practice already. SAP provide that what is the best process for industry, that how if you need to do buying, how you should be doing. We'll be going here with the production planning and manufacturing. We'll see that what SAP process is there. If you need to produce it, what process SAP defines. So already defined processes are there, which SAP provides. And the very good and the very important thing in SAP is that everything is linked with each other. Inventory is linked with the production, planning is linked with the production, buying is linked with the planning, and then your sales and distribution will link with the inventories, and everything get merged into the finance. Okay, all the transaction get merged into the finance, everything would be linked to the financial transactions. So that is the power of SAP, that is a full solution which is integrated with each other. Okay, so that's what basically the SAP. Now within the SAP, we are going to learn S4HANA. Now in next slide, I am going to tell you what is this S4 and what is this S4HANA. That's what I'm going to explain you. First, you understand the ERP part, and you also understand what is SAP. Next slide, we will be understanding what is S4HANA. Why we are saying that we are learning SAP S4HANA. So let's discuss that in the next slide. And then we'll open for the question and answers. Now here what I'm going to explain you is S4HANA. before you understand S4HANA, you understand what is SAP, but before you understand S4HANA, you need to understand the SAP, different SAP products which SAP has introduced over the time. Okay, so the first product they have introduced is R2. Okay, this was introduced nearly in 70s. Okay, a real-time two-tier architecture. Okay, so two-tier architecture means that if you talk about the architecture, it was having a presentation layer which is connected with your database layer. Presentation layer connected with your database layer. Okay, this is the R2. Now in the R2 system, when they have launched, it was very initial start. They were having a limited business processes was there. Interface was a problem. When we say interface, is the user interface. It was a black screen. The another issue was there, its performance. The performance was not that great in that. And then another, the key issue was there, integration with another products. Whatever the another products available, if you want to integrate R2 with another products, it was very difficult to integrate. Then SAP came up with their next thing, which is R3, three-tier architecture. Okay, then SAP came up with R3. In R3, that architecture is that we will be having here the presentation layer. Presentation layer is connected with your application layer. Application layer come in between. And then it was your database layer. Database layer is where basically all your data gets stored. All of your data would be getting stored in the database. So this is for data. This was application layer is for your business logic. When we say business logic is nothing but your ABAP code. That sits here, data sits here, your application code sits here, and this is how you use the system through the presentation layer. In R3, they come up the key benefit they get in R3, they come up with the interface. Is that GUI, graphical user interface. Okay, they come up with the GUI. Now the blue screen which you look at the SAP, the first thing which has been shown by Vasu, right? The blue screen which we see, that is basically your graphical user interface. That's what's your GUI. Now in the GUI, that is the one thing which you get in R3. And then the another thing which you get in R3, it's having a, because the architecture has been distributed, the performance become better. And they have also started enhancing their languages with the R3 itself, with ABAP and OOPS ABAP concept came in R3. And that is ABAP is, if people are wondering what is ABAP, ABAP is a programming language on which SAP has written. Okay, so that thing comes into this R3 layer. And then your IDOC, intermediate document. So this is another feature or technology name you can see in SAP, by which you would be able to integrate to SAP system. So that thing comes up to improve the integration between the system. So that's what the R3 product which has been come up. So SAP got real hit into the market by launching of the R3, and then ECC was another success. So many customers you will hardly see any customer now on R3. Most of the customer has moved into the ECC, and now SAP is asking them further to move into SAP S4HANA. Then the next is your ECC, Enterprise Core Component. So by the time SAP has worked on R3, a lot of customers has already put it up in R3. Okay, a lot of customers has been come up. So SAP gained a lot of knowledge from the business, different industry solution. So SAP enhanced their industry solutions with ECC, industry specific solutions. SAP also enhanced and work on their best practices, or it is also known as a building block. That part also they have work on. SAP also improved their interface. People know about Fiori from S4HANA, but Fiori came in the era of ECC itself. Fiori is basically a web-based interface where basically rather than going through the GUI or rather than downloading a software for SAP to use it, you can directly go to your Google Chrome and you would be able to access SAP. Or you can also download application on the phone, Fiori application, and on phone also you would be able to do the operations with SAP. That's where basically the Fiori comes into the picture. And what other thing they have done, they have integrated the another products by the time they have developed another product. So with the core interface, they have linked everything to ECC. ECC become a heart, okay, which was pumping, and your CRM solution got linked, SRM solution got linked, your APO solutions got linked, and your another solutions like EWM solution or another solution. TM came very late, but it came in the era of ECC itself, got linked with the core interfaces, with the CIF interfaces. These all products get linked with the ECC, and ECC become a core competency of the business, basic business operations. Still, this was on the 3-tier architecture. Okay, it was still on the 3-tier architecture. So here, one thing is that SAP was working in R2, R3, and ECC. They have worked on their coding part. They have worked on the application. SAP has an application. So anything which you use, it has a two things. One is the application, and second is the database. So you need a database to install your application and to work on that application, right? So that's a two component, application and the database. So till this part, SAP has worked more on the application part or more onto the solution part, where basically a good business solution on the application has been developed and given to the business. Okay, and all of these was actually there on database, and this database was X database. Any X database or Oracle database, you was able to use it here, where you can launch, you can install your SAP. Now this thing has been changed when SAP has moved to S4HANA. Now S4HANA is the next generation of SAP system. So this R2 was the first generation, R3 was the next generation, or you can say version. ECC was the third generation, and S4HANA is the fourth generation, which is also called simplified for HANA. So all of our training will be happening, whether it's a basic training or advanced training, we will be doing on S4HANA itself, because that is the newest one. We'll be doing it here. So now in S4HANA, which is simplified for HANA, a word comes HANA. So what is HANA? First, you need to understand. HANA is basically a database. So this application, this SAP S4HANA application, which was introduced in 2015, can only work on a HANA database. And HANA database has been developed by SAP. It's a core competencies of SAP. They have developed this database. So far, they have worked till ECC. They have worked on the application, making sure that the better code and better business processes are available by doing a better app coding. Then from 2015, they said that this HANA journey started from 2010. They launched in 2010, and the development even started very early from 2002 or 3. They started it, they launched HANA around in 2010. And then they used that database for their core application, which was ECC, that become S4HANA. Now S4HANA, it has to have a HANA database. It cannot be this application, this SAP application of S4HANA cannot be installed on any X database. Okay, it has to have the HANA database which come from SAP. So by doing that, SAP is also increasing the market share. Earlier, any company wants to implement SAP, they want to buy a SAP application, a license need to be bought from SAP, and the infrastructure, the database they can buy from any company, right? IBM and other places. Now the infrastructure also belongs to SAP, where they need to also buy the SAP infrastructure. Now, what is that good in this HANA database system? Okay, why it is so much called, and so far in R2, R3, ECC, you don't see the database name in the product name. But now in S4HANA, within the product name itself, we are having a name of the database, right? So why it is like that? So, and what is actually the HANA database? So HANA database is basically, as compared to the traditional system, it's a in-memory database system, which is having a competency that it works very fast. Okay, why it works very fast, I will explain you into the next slide. Okay, it can do the on-the-fly calculation. Okay, all of the things which we were not able to do by using the X database system, you will see that we will be able to do it with the HANA database system. So because it works very fast, it works on the fly. In the normal database, we put a lot of data only for the reporting purpose. All the reportings you can do it on the fly, which means that all of the tables, a lot of tables which was there into the earlier R2, R3 and ECC, a lot of junk tables you can remove. You will be having a very linear data model into the system. So that's where basically the HANA come into the picture as a database. And to use that enhanced capabilities of HANA database system, SAP developed an application which is S4, and altogether the name of application come to S4 HANA. Okay, so what is S4 HANA? S4 HANA is a product from SAP. It's an application. What is HANA? HANA is a database. You should be clear about the terminology. When we say HANA, what do we mean? And when we say S4 HANA, what do we mean? That you should be clear about it. S4 HANA came with the version of 2015, the version called 1511. So initially till 2019, SAP followed that initial 2 digits would be year and the last 2 digits would be the month. So it was launched in the month of November 2015. So the version is 1511. Then we have a version, next version is 1610, 1709, 1809, 1909, and 2020. So if the people who are thinking that S4 HANA is something new thing which they need to learn, you just think that S4 HANA is also 5-year-old product now. Although we have seen the maturity coming into the product from 1709, we faced a lot of challenges in 1511 and 1610. It was a baby product, and the maturity started coming into the product from 1709 and 1809. It's more mature product. Apart from HANA as a database, they have completely worked and changed their interface. So here the interface was a GUI interface, right? Fiori was available, but in ECC, if you are using a Fiori interface, you need to do a lot of development. Here they say that there should be a simpler interface for user. User should be able to use on the Google Chrome. So they have emphasis on the Fiori. Here, if you see the out-of-the-box Fiori application, it would be 10 to 20 applications, which is available with the Fiori. 10 to 20 application of ECC you can use in Fiori out of the box. Apart from that, if you want to use any application, you need to develop your own. SAP starting developing a lot of Fiori application, which they have increased when they are moving from one version to another version. They have increased the number of application. Now we have in total 10,000 plus Fiori applications which has been delivered with S4 HANA, and it's out of the box, and 1,000 plus simplified applications are there for S4 HANA. Now all the work of SAP you will actually would be able to do on a Google Chrome or Internet Explorer. Any Internet Explorer you can use, or any Explorer you can use. You can use Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, or any another, and you would be able to directly work on SAP. You need not to install the GUI in your desktops. Without doing that, you would be able to use SAP system. It is easy to use on the mobile. So a lot of, because now is the era of mobile, right? Everybody wants to do the things on the mobile. Business people also want to do and see that their reportings or their operations they want to do and check from the mobile. So that is one thing which has been enhanced and given with the Fiori. Okay, so that is what so far we have decoded what is SAP and we have decoded what is S4 HANA. Okay, now I will decode little bit more about HANA in the next slide. But before I'm jumping into next slide, I will take a quick pause to check if you guys have any question till this point. You would be able to unmute yourself. Okay, you can unmute yourself or you can put your question into the chat window if you have any question. Now you would be able to understand what we are talking about. We are talking about SAP. What is SAP and what is S4 HANA? S4 HANA is basically at the high level, fourth version of SAP. Yes, please. Questions?
Yeah. Hi, Parminder. Shashank this side.
Yeah, Shashank.
Yeah, Parminder, my basic query is that, what is the main difference between ECC and S4HANA in terms of speed, in terms of productivity, and in terms of functionality? I mean to say.
Okay. Let me answer that question. So I always thought that now what good things is coming to SAP S4 HANA. Let's say I go back 5 years or I go back 10 years back when I was working on ECC. I went to SAP. I said that, okay, the ECC is there. Okay, it's good system, but I want some of my complex reportings I want to get generated. Okay, be with me. It's a very good question. I will take 5 minutes to answer it. Be with me. I want to enhance my things in ECC. I have a good thing, but I want to enhance my reporting functionality. How I can enhance my reporting functionality? I knocked the SAP door. So I said that SAP, do you have any solution for it? SAP come back, yes, we have a solution. Why don't you go to BW for your complex reporting? You go to BW. So they have a solution, but they said that I need to go to the BW for that solution, where I will be able to, wherever the complex reports comes into the picture in ECC, we say, okay, don't run on ECC. ECC will go down with the complex reporting. The operations, you will not be able to do it. You go into the BW. I said, okay. And after a few years, I came back. Okay, I'm doing good my reporting. Can I get some analytical reporting? Can I get a dashboards getting it out of it? And do we have any solution? I knocked the door again. And they said, yes, we have. And we have now the solution we have is the BI. You implement the BI, and through BI, you build your dashboards and you give the analytical reportings, whatever you need to do. But you go ahead with another product, which is the BI. I said, okay. Then after a few years, I knocked the door again. I said, can I get a solution? I'm doing good. My MRP is doing good, but can I get some advanced planning solutions for it? SAP said, yes, we have. You go to the APO, advanced planning and optimization. The same thing, whenever I have asked them, now I want to work with my transport management, you go ahead with the TM, you go ahead with the EWM. At that time, I was asking that SAP is not giving all these function and features within ECC because they would just want to sell more products, which is actually the true part. They want to sell more. But apart from that, the actual thing is that, which I understand after the HANA came into the picture, that your existing database doesn't have that capability that it can take that much of load from those different applications it would be able to take. The existing database doesn't have the capability. Just to explain you the basics of the MRP or basics of the planning, which this is the production planning, so I'm taking that example. Basics of the planning which we do is the MRP. MRP is the most basics of the planning which we do, right? And that also in ECC is available, but SAP doesn't call ECC as a planning system. SAP doesn't call ECC as a reporting system. ECC, as per SAP terminology, is just a transaction system. Neither it's a reporting system nor it's a planning system. So even though the MRP I need to run in ECC, you might have the people who have worked the material requirement planning, the batch job which we set it up in ECC, we set it up the batch jobs in the night, because that simple solution or simple algorithms itself can take 3 to 4 hours or sometimes 6 hours, and it consumes so much of the bandwidth of your system that at the same time, if you're doing operations or transaction in the system, you will see the slowness in the system. Okay, so when the very basic algorithms are taking so much of time and I cannot run any time, I need to just find a window. It's not that the business requirement that my MRP need to happen in the night. It's not a business requirement. It's basically what IT has given, as SAP has given, that you cannot run. You need to have a lot of performance issues with the system, so you run it at the night. Okay, but that's not a business requirement. So if the same thing, the very complex APO heuristics or APO algorithms, if you will try to do it in ECC, what will happen? It will simply go down. That's why to distribute the load, SAP said that let's have a separate servers, and you do into the multiple servers, you do the things, and let get it integrated with the core interfaces. So it's basically the IT architecture shortcomings was there, that I cannot have my APO functionalities, I cannot have my BI functionalities, I cannot have my complex reportings, I cannot have my APO running on the S4HANA system. That was because this database was a culprit. It was not able to handle the things. Now when the S4HANA comes into the picture, now you will see we call it as a embedded analytics. Embedded analytics is nothing but a miniature of the BI. A lot of things which we were earlier using by putting a data into external system and generating a BI reports and generating a dashboards into the BI, you would be able to do within S4HANA itself. Complex reports, I said that on the fly calculation, right? A lot of complex reports you would be able to generate it within S4HANA system. Earlier, we were, as a consultant, we were having that any complex reports come, we said, no, don't do it in S4, don't do it in ECC, do it in BW. Otherwise, you will be just getting a, the hover signal, which will be keep on hovering and your reports will not run. Now the complex reporting you can do, TM is embedded, PPDS is embedded. Not everything is embedded, but they are now embedded. A lot of things which we are using from the external servers now, you can use within the S4HANA. EWM is embedded. BI is coming to the embedded analytics. Complex reporting is coming. So all of these things are coming because of this HANA database system. So you can do much more things by using S4HANA system. These all are capabilities. This is just a glimpse of it. There's 1,000 of examples. I can sit it and spend a full night to give it to you that what more you're getting in S4HANA, what improvements you're getting in S4HANA. Performance is better. The database is, your total database in the TBs will go down. Data model is simplifier. Reporting is faster. User would be able to do a lot of reportings without even the Z reports. You creating a Z reports, user will be able to create their own applications. User would be able to play around with the analytics, creating their own analytical applications. The TM you can use in the same system. EWM you can use in the same system. The PPDS planning you can use in the same system. It has so much to offer.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, any other question, guys?
Hey, Parminder, one question, like one thing I've mostly heard is when we talk about different solutions within SAP, they say they have a native integration with S4HANA. What is native integration in that case?
Give me example.
Ariba and S4HANA, they say they have native integration.
Okay, SAP do one thing to confuse the people with the different terminologies. So earlier it was called the core interface, CIF. Now they have used the terminology with the native interface. Native interface means that to do the basic interface between these two applications, Ariba or EWM can be outside application, TM can also be outside application. To integrate between these two different systems, you need not to do any special coding for it. There is an integrated solution. There is a APIs which has been available. So you can install and you can run those APIs to connect these two different systems. If you connect a S4HANA system with any third-party system, right? So what you need to do, you need to develop a solution. You need to do the coding that what data model mapping would be happening between S4HANA system and the third-party system. that mappings you need to do, that coding you need to do it, right? When SAP says it's a native integration, that mapping and coding, the basic mapping and basic coding has been done by SAP, and they have given a solution to integrate these things. Any other question, guys?
Parminder, not now, but can we get a session, quick small session on how to use best practices later on? Not now, but that would be really helpful.
So how to use best practices we'll be doing in our advanced part. So once
Okay,
we complete
sure.
the basic trainings, we'll switch to advanced. There will show you that how to use the best practices. Although we are using the glimpse you will be getting in the basic sessions also, because the system which we are using as for HANA 2020 system which we'll be using is a best practice system.
Okay.
Okay, any other question, guys, before I jump and show you some glimpse of what is HANA as a database? Okay, if you don't have any question, let's proceed ahead to the next slide and discuss more on HANA. So I will just show you a glimpse of HANA so that you know that you understand this terminology. You are learning SAP. We have a lot of people here who are completely freshers. Okay, so you should learn that what is ERP, what is SAP, what is S4, what is HANA. When we call separately HANA, what it is. When we call S4 HANA, what it is. So you should understand that terminology. So that's what a very brief explanation I will give you. HANA as a database. So what is HANA and how it is different with the another database system? So just to explain you, in any database which you use, they would be having so let's say this is a user and he wants to use a system. So he will be going through a application layer. This application layer will pass the information, not the application layer, the presentation layer. Will pass the information to application layer, where your coding will come into the picture. Here it will decode that, let's say he wants to run a report. What is my open production orders? That report need to be run. Okay, what is my open production order? That information has gone to the application layer. Application layer will decode this is open production order layer. ABAP code will run and it will identify which table I need to go and look, which fields I need to go and look, and it will try to fetch the data from this database. Okay, now this is my database. I'm calling the X database which we're using, or the traditional database which we're using in ECC. So this database would be having a mechanical component, which is your, or electrical component, which is your rotating disk and drum. So this is the part where basically your data gets stored. Okay, so in between there will be multiple cache systems there, and there would be a file system which will try to bring the data out from this. It will be going here, bringing the data out, building a different caches here, and then once the data come out, it will go to the application layer, then it will go to the presentation layer. Okay, and once the data go out here, we don't do the calculation here. The calculations happens here. The filtration happens here. Okay, maybe this will be giving you a lot of production orders and you want to see the sum of the production orders, or you want to filter out the production order as per the user query by putting some filter on the order type or the plant filters you want to put it. So that filtrations and the calculations would be happening on the application layer. So database layer would be giving that data, and on top of that, your algorithms which do the calculation would be happening on the application layer. Application layer would be working on it and giving the data back to the user. Now in this full things, when we say about the performance, what are the key things which is impacting my performance? The key things which is impacting my performance here is the major culprit is this rotating disk and drum. This is a mechanical component, rotating disk and drum. Inherently, it is very difficult to fetch out a data from a mechanical component, which is a rotating disk and drum. Okay, sending a data is still simpler, but fetching out a data is very difficult from these mechanical devices, right? That's where basically it's come into the picture where we do only the basic reportings in ECC, because whenever it comes that you need to fetch the data out, your system's performance become very slow. That's why we also say that on the daytime, even you have a consultant and you want to access some tables, direct accessing some tables, don't access the bulk data together. There would be always a limit by default of 500 count limit would be there, right? That's all things to make sure that we are not extracting so much of data together from the system, because whenever you you try to get so much of data, this file system and this rotating disk and drum put a lot of load on the performance, put a lot of consume a lot of your system bandwidth to do that. Okay, then second thing, because this is slow in fetching out the data, it's not like that this calculation I cannot do here, or this filtration I cannot do here. I can do here. Any database has that capability, we can do it. But if you will do the calculation also here, and if you do the filtration also here, then your performance would be more slower. That's the basic reason the application layer has been put in, so that only the data has been worked out, data has been given, and the calculation and the filtration we do the application layer, so that we are not putting more load on the database. Database is already loaded just to fetch out the data. If you feel that you will also put the algorithm also on there, it will go down completely. So that's basically your traditional database system. That's the database which you are using in ECC. Now, what are you using in S4HANA? S4HANA, we are using HANA database system. So let's now discuss about the HANA database system, what exactly the HANA database system is. Now, in my HANA database system, this is my HANA DB. I call it as it's an in-memory system. It's an in-memory database system. Not I call it, it's actually in-memory database system. And it's not like that the in-memory database system SAP has invented. It's already there from 20 years, it's already available. And it's also used by the different applications also, HANA database system. Not HANA database system, in-memory database concept. So let's first understand what is the in-memory database concept. In the in-memory database concept, your data would remain. So here the data is stored in rotating disk and drum, and here the data would be stored in charge. Rather than storing into a mechanical component, the data would be stored in capacitors and transistors. Okay, the data would be stored in the capacitors and data would be stored in the transistors in the in-memory database system. Now, fetching out a data from a rotating disk and drum compared to fetching out a data from electronic components, which is capacitor and transistors, is so easy, is 1,000 or 10,000 times more easy or more faster to fetch out data from capacitors and transistors compared to a rotating disk and drum. That is the basic coherent principle, although there are a lot of things there which makes the things faster, but this is a basic coherent principle. That's why S4HANA is so fast system. Okay, so this HANA database system, which is an in-memory system, it works, the data is stored into the charge, and fetching all the data from a charge is very fast. Whether it need to give it to the presentation layer, and then it need to go give into the application layer to the presentation layer, this cycle will become very fast. Even now you would be able to do your calculation in the database itself. That is also one of the concept in S4HANA. It work on the push down. So we write the codes in your application layer, which will be pushing down all the all the load now to the database system, because now the database has a capability. It is more easier to do the calculation, to do the filtration and sending the data back to the application layer, because it would be the less amount of data, right? Now the database has a capability, so why should not I use the database capability to do the calculations and to do the all the filtration here and sending data back? So that's what the HANA database would be able to do it. But there is one catch here. Okay, the catch here is that if the data is stored in charge, if the charge, you have completely lose the charge, it's a complete power shutdown, which means that you will lose your data. With complete power shutdown, you will lose your data. Make a note of it. That's what the problem was there in the in-memory database system. The in-memory database system that 10 years ago also people were using, but people were only using for the reporting purpose. So what they were doing actually, if I will explain you here, they were using this main system. It was used as a sidecar. Okay, and in-memory system, they were transferring the data to the in-memory system and they were generating reporting from here. That was the architecture which is very common 10 to 15, even 20 years ago also people has used this architecture. Copying your data and sending it continuously to this database which is in memory and generating reporting from here. Even though the data loss happen, you still have a full backup of the data into the main memory. SAP said that if I want to combine this, if I want to not only the reporting, all the operations and everything, I want to run on the in-memory database system, how we can do it. So this is a little bit complex thing, but I will just highlight it here. So they have divided. So this is the HANA database is a combination of two layers. It's called the temperature layers. Okay, at the back end here, it also has a rotating disk and drum. Okay, so the architecture is so good that all the operations happens here from this in memory. So for user, it would be using all this in memory and the operations would be very fast. And they have architecture here where basically at every 8 minutes or every 10 minutes, a backup has been restored into your rotating disk and drum, into another layer. So actually the HANA database system, when we talk about, is a combination of your traditional database layer, which is called your form layer. And on top of that, we have an in-memory database layer. It's a combination of two kind of databases merged together to make a HANA database system, to make it faster for the reporting and for the transactions also. So with this brief explanation, now you would be able to understand what actually a HANA database system is. If you have any questions, you can ask it before I jump ahead to the next topic. You would be able to unmute yourself and ask the question. If you have any question, please ask it.
Hello, Parminder.
Yeah, Manish.
This is Manish here. Sorry, I have joined a little bit late. Okay. So you have mentioned that the HANA database is of two layers. Okay. And the hello.
Yeah, please go ahead. I am able to hear you.
And the two layers indicated as temperature layers. So why so?
Two layers are called as a different temperature layer, hot layer and warm layer.
So why so?
Why so? Okay.
Yeah.
Why there are two layers, right?
Yeah. No. Why it is called temperature layers?
Why it is called temperature layer? Okay, so SAP had need to give some name to these layers, right? So why it is called? Why they have called it as a temperature layers? That even I don't know why they have given this name, but they called it as a hot layer, and they call it as a warm layer, and then there would be a backup outside the HANA database, which is called as a cold layer. Why call it? They called it as a hot layer, but because all of your user-related transaction, when user is inserting a data, it is getting inserting here, and when user is reading the data, the user is reading from here in memory part. In memory parts is a faster part. So the direct storage is also happening in memory, and direct getting out of the data is also getting from in memory. So all of the action, the basic action and the core action is happening here. That's why it's called the hot layer. Okay, it's not like that it is temperature wise it's very heated. It's not like that, but all the actions are happening in this layer. That's why it's called the hot layer. All of the data which will be used frequently by the system would be there in the hot layer. And the warm layer is there, where basically there are also the concepts there, where basically if the data is not used, you can push it there. It's a warm data, okay, which is used only for, not used frequently. Maybe on the month end processes will be using that data. That data can be pushed down into your warm layer, and the backups are stored into the cold layer. So the most of the action is there in the upper layer, in memory layer. That's why they have called it as a hot layer or the temperature layer. On other way around, that you are Manish, I am Parminder, right? Why you are Manish, why I am Parminder.
Thanks for the information, Parminder.
Okay. Okay, any other question, guys? Okay, so if you don't have any other question, let's see that what decoding we have done so far. SAP we understand, S4 we understand, HANA we understand. Now let's move to the production planning. Okay, so before I move to the production planning, I will give you a quick overview on that what kind of different modules would be there in SAP system, and then I will little bit zoom in to the production planning part. Okay. Some people would be aware of it. For some people, it would be little new things. Okay. So let's say I start with the sourcing or buying. So sourcing or buying is the first thing which I need to do to get my raw materials available. Okay. I would be requiring my raw materials, right? Because I want to do the production. So I will be requiring my raw materials. So I need to buy that. So that buying is called sourcing or the procurement. Okay. In SAP S4HANA, this module is called S&P, sourcing and procurement. In ECC, it was called MM, materials management. Both are the same thing. Whether you call it as a sourcing or procurement, you call it as a MM, the both are the same thing. Basically, here the key functions would be there. You would be creating here, the main document would be here, the purchase order. And against the purchase order, you would be doing the buying operations. Okay, that's basically one of the module to buy the things in SAP. It's called MM or sourcing and procurement, and you will be creating a purchase orders and do a lot of stuff related to buying. Another supportive modules, earlier it was the SRM was there. Now SRM is going to sunset. Now we are having a supporting module which will be having advanced functions. That is Ariba. Okay, advanced sourcing and especially the sourcing part of it. Okay, the sourcing and procurement is the two things. Sourcing is basically where you go ahead and identify the vendor, and procurement is the normal operations. Once the vendor has been identified, you need to continuously go ahead and do the continuous production, creating a purchase order, approving a purchase order, doing a GR stuff, and clearing up payments to the vendor and putting the invoices. So that is the normal procurement stuff. And then the another part is you need to identify the vendor and onboard the vendor. That's mostly come under the sourcing part. So sourcing can be handled in Ariba, and operations procurement is a very strong in SAP in S&P module or MM module. So that is your first module, sourcing and procurement modules. With sourcing and procurement, you will do the buying, and from there you would be getting your inventory in. So inventory has been managed. The second module here, which we'll be discussing once the buying has been done, you would be having IM, inventory management. In inventory management, which storage locations, where you need to store the material, what kind of different storage locations would be there, what kind of different stocks would be there, the overview of stocks, everything you would be getting it through this module called inventory management. These two modules are very much linked to each other. Generally, we don't have a separate consultant for inventory management and sourcing and procurement. S&P guy, we also asked to do the inventory management also. Okay, the enhanced version of the inventory management is your warehouse management. The short form is WM, is another module, and we also have a extended warehouse management, which is called EWM. So if you want to store your stocks at the storage location levels, you use the inventory management. If you want to do the further granularization and the storage bin and storage type level, you want to store your stock, the module is EWM. So EWM is to better manage your warehouses. That is the module EWM. It's not mandatory that EWM should be there. If we are having a big warehouses, companies implement that module EWM. Okay, to EWM or WM to manage better their warehouses. Otherwise, within the storage location also, you can maintain your stock. So that's basically the three modules: IM, WM, and EWM in SAP. So I bought it and I have stored my inventory. Then what would be the next thing? The next thing would be I need to also do the planning. I will put both together, our core module, which we are going to have a training on, production and planning. So the module, the short form of this module which we are learning here in this session is PP, production planning. So the both names are famous. The PP was more famous in ECC. S4HANA also it's PP, but the another name is more known as SAP S4HANA Manufacturing. People come to me and ask that what is the difference between SAP MM and SAP sourcing and procurement, S4HANA sourcing and procurement, what is the difference between PP and manufacturing? Nothing, it is just two names. In S4HANA, they have now calling it as the manufacturing. In ECC, it was famous with the name PP. But what kind of operations, function features, more or less it's same. There would be enhanced functions features in S4HANA, but core business process is same. So production planning, you will be doing your planning stuff, which would be very much integrated with MM. Because when we say the planning, you would also need to plan your raw materials, right? When you want to buy the raw materials, you need to also plan the raw materials, at how much buying I would be doing in each month, what should be the quantity, whether by on which date I need to buy it, whether if I will buy on that date, it would be good for my production to happen. So these things are interlinked. Okay, so the planning, when it says the planning is for both the production planning also and the raw material planning also comes under the planning. So with the manufacturing, you would be doing your basically the main thing here, which would be for us, the document would be the production order. And for the planning side, it would be more here, the MRP, material requirement planning. Okay, if it is a process industry, it can be the process order. Otherwise, it would be the production order. So I would be doing all my planning here, that what I need to produce it. Then I would be doing creating a production order, and the manufacturing execution would also happen here. We'll talk about little bit more detail in the next slide, but manufacturing execution also would happen here after the production order has been done. Now the supportive module for the PP is for the executions part. Majorly it's handled in the S4HANA itself or in the ECC itself. The planning part is basically, they are the further modules to it. So apart from the MRP which is available or DDMRP which is available within S4HANA, we have another sub-modules which can support. One of the module is APO, Advanced Planning and Optimization. Now it is the another thing which is going to be in future. APO would be replaced with IBP, Integrated Business Planning. This is another module name. Then this APO and IBP together can have a different thing. You can hear about the demand planning, demand management or demand planning. Then you can have a supply network planning. Then you can have a PPDS, production planning and detailed scheduling. And you can have a AATP, available to promise. Or it is called GATP or it's called AATP. Those kind of another sub-modules would be there, which would be enhancing your capabilities of production planning or the manufacturing. So once the manufacturing has been done, so in between here, between the sourcing procurement or between the production, inventory management or after the production, there would be more supportive modules will come into the picture. So which supportive modules will come into the picture? Let me also highlight here. There can be between this sourcing and buy and between the inventory management, there can be another module which is QM, quality management. It can happen after you buy, when you store the inventory, quality inspection is required, or after the production or during a production also, you would require a QM, quality management, and after the production also, you might require a QM module, quality management. The another module which would be the PM, plant maintenance. Okay, now the new name is for this is Enterprise Asset Management, EAM. PM and EAM are both are the same things. PM is a name in ECC. EAM is a name in S4HANA, Enterprise Asset Management. So here basically, if you are having a machineries, a lot of equipments are there, how the maintenance of them would be planned in the machinery maintenance, preventive maintenance, corrective maintenance, malfunction notifications, how these would be generated to manage the maintenance of the machines and the equipments and the tools. Okay, that would be done with the module called plant maintenance. So far we have discussed about the MM and sourcing procurement, IM, WM, EWM, PP, APO, QM, PM or EAM, Ariba also we have discussed about. And the next module, which will be once the production has been done, then you would be interested to do the sales. Okay, so the next module would be the sales one. It is called sales and distribution. The famous name for this in S4HANA is in ECC it was SD, and in S4HANA it is just sales. So the basic document which we'll be talking about here is your sales order creation. You will be creating your sales order and you will be fulfilling the quantities to the customer. Okay, so that would be coming into the sales and distribution. So with the sales and distribution, there would be also the supportive modules with the sales and distribution. Now, for earlier it was a CRM, but now the CRM would sunset. Customer relationship management, it will sunset. Now the another module is which is known as Hybris or C4C, Cloud for Customer. So this would be having some additional, this is not only the modules, but this is a separate products also, Hybris and C4C, Cloud for Customer, which would be enhance the functionality of the customer services, okay, and the customer relationship. Your lead generation, the pre-sales part would be having a more enhanced functionality in C4C. So this is the SD module, right? Now all of these modules need to link with one single module, and the very important module, which is very much necessary, for the business is the FICO, finance and controlling. Let me use this color. So all of these would be linked, having a linkage, whether it's a sourcing, inventory, or anything, it would be linked with one big layer, that is your FICO, finance and controlling. Okay. FICO will be having another submodules. Account payable would be one of the submodule. Account receivable would be one of the submodule. Then product costing would be there. Then your asset management would be there. These all would be the submodule. And one module apart from the FICO you will be hearing is the central finance. That is the reporting part. Another product where you can do the central reporting, also related to your FICO module. So these are the major and the high level of modules which we use it. These modules are called the functional modules. Okay. So far we have discussed about the functional modules. You should also be aware about the technical modules. So there would be a technical layer. So I will put the two more layers here. So this full layer, I will call it as a functional layer. This would be handled by the functional consultants. There would be few more modules would be there. Okay, but at the large level which has been adopted by the enterprises are these modules. The most adoption of the module which is there, that is FICO. FICO you will see in each implementation, FICO would be there. Whether logistics, PP, MM, SD is there or not, but FICO would be there. So this is our bucket of the functional modules. Then we have a technical modules, which will be supporting where the coding and other things would be happening. So what are the technical modules we will be having? In technical modules, you would be having here ABAP. Your ABAP consultants would be there. Okay, you would be doing coding on the ABAP part. ABAPers would be there. Then you would be having a Fiori, or it's called UI5 consultants, who would be doing the things on Fiori, development of Fiori, they would be doing. Then we have basis people. Then we have a people who would be taking care of security. It's just one leg of the basis. Then your data HANA admins, your database administrations, people who would be managing the administration of the database. So these would be your layer where the technical consultant would be there. So this is a layer of technical layer. So another set of consultants would be the technical consultants would be working on. Then there would be one more layer here, which will be your reporting layer. Let me also draw the reporting here. There would be some reporting tools and specific reporting consultants would be there. So let me also try to draw that one. Then there would be your BW consultant, business warehouse, which is used for the consolidation of the data. Then there would be some BI consultants. Okay, who would be working on the BW reports or the BI part. Then there would be some HANA data modelers. HANA data modeler is also a kind of a reporting consultants who do the reporting on by using function and features available in HANA database itself. And then there would be another within the part of the BI. We have a Lumira consultants. We have another BI objects are there for related to that. We'll be having a consultants within the Fiori. We have a Fiori embedded analytics consultant who is expert in the analytics, embedded analytics of the Fiori. Okay, they would be playing around with the Fiori application and giving you the more KPIs, generating more KPIs for you by using CDS views, and then giving you more analytical related reporting applications would be there. So these are the three legs basically at the higher level. We have a reporting leg, we have a functional consultant leg, and we have a technical consultants leg. Within the all of the areas, whatever we have written, BWBI, ABAP, Fiori, these all are called different modules. Some are the technical modules and some are the functional modules. I will take a quick pause here to check if you guys have any question here. At this point, you can ask it. You would be able to unmute yourself. If you have any question, you can ask it here. Okay, if that part is clear, we are clear that what are the different modules in SAP, what kind of different operations would be happening. I would be now focusing on giving you some light on the production planning part. Okay. Now let's discuss our production planning. Let me use another color. Now production planning would be having a two legs to it. One is that one leg would be planning leg. And second leg would be here, would be the production leg. So what is covered in production and what is covered in planning? Okay. Before I answer it, let me ask this question to you. Okay. Let's have some involvement. So who can explain me that what is covered in production and what is covered in planning? What are the difference between the production and what is the difference between planning? Who is willing to answer it?
Hello, Parvinder.
Yeah, Manish.
As I am from manufacturing background, I am going to answer the question. In production, we use the manufacturing setup and we use raw material and to produce something, okay, to finish good, right? And in planning, to have raw material and or other manpower and all sort of things, we do the planning.
Okay, what else planning you do it apart from the manpower?
Manpower, like raw material planning we do, inventory planning we do, like
inventory planning we do. That's right. That's
raw
right.
material inventory planning we do.
That's right. That's right. That's very correct statement. Okay. So let me a little bit elaborate it now. So Manish, what has explained is from the operation perspective. So I will elaborate it a little bit more from the SAP perspective, that what would be covered in production and what would be covered in the planning. So production here will focus on more on the execution part. The another name to it is shop floor control. Okay, this part, the production part, would be basically starting it by from the creation of the production order. Okay, and from where the production order would be created, you can use planned order. Okay, and this planned order can be converted into the production order. Now, what production order, what information we should have in the production order? Production order, you can call it, or a manufacturing order. There is no big science in that. Okay, there's no big science in SAP in that. Any ERP you use it, the production order would be having the same kind of information, same basic information. So what would be that basic information? That what you want to produce, what quantity you want to produce, what means material, how much quantity you want to produce, when you want to produce. Okay, these three questions should be answered at the header level. And then to produce that, how you are going to produce. How means which operations you need to use it, or which machines you need to use it. Okay, that information should be there. And what is the material required? If you want to produce a material as a juice bottle, to produce that you require a juice, you require a juice concentrate, you require a sugar, you require a water, you require cans, and you require another packaging material. You need a sticker to put it on it. Those all what kind of materials you will require, what operations you need to do, which machines you need to use it, what exactly you're going to produce it, in how much quantity, and when the production need to happen. That information should be there in the production order, so that it can be taken ahead, and it can taken ahead for the manufacturing execution. So when we say the manufacturing execution, the few processes would be there. Once the production order is there, we'll be following is the release of the production order. So once the production order is released, and then you would be getting your material reservations to store. You need to get the materials, all of these materials which is required. You need to get those materials from stores and receive it in the shop floor storage location. And then there will be some activities related to goods issue. So we'll be talking about a lot GI. GI is nothing but goods issue the goods materials, which will be your consumption to your production order. Whatever the materials we had, now we are starting producing it. So we'll be putting all the sugar, all the juice concentrate into a bigger drum or a bigger silo to get it mixed. So that materials, once we have put it has been issued. Okay, it has been consumed from our side, issued to the production order. And then you can have a production order confirmation. That production order is confirmed. Here you will be also be confirming the labor, what labor hours you have used, or what another activities you have used, or what machine hours you have used. That also you'll be confirming. And then there can be the next process can be a code receipt. There are the multiple things we can combine it. That would be the design, which we'll be doing through that, how and what things can be combined together for the business. When you'll be doing a good receipt, a finished good will come into the picture. Okay, your finished goods will be coming into the picture. And then there would be some another processes which you need to do for your production order. You need to make sure that you close the production order. That is called technical completion, TECO. And then further it will be followed by your settlement. These would be the process flow which would be used, TECO and then settlement. Okay, so this part, the right hand part, all the execution part, starting from the production order, once production order came in, and then you need to make sure that you produce it, you confirm it, and then you close the production order. That all part would be coming into the production part or the execution part. Now what need to do, produce in which quantity and when, who decide that? The decision happens through the plant order. So that decisions would be coming from the planning side. So now I will be discussing and explaining what are the things which will be covered from the planning side. So the planned order is one thing. Okay. So planned order, which will be helping us to generate a production order, but in planning we'll be using a multiple different tools. Okay. The first thing which we'll be doing in the planning here would be your demand planning. Demand planning, you can also use kind of a thing called forecast. You will be doing a forecast that how much material would be required to sell, how much material I will be selling it for the finished good, right? So that forecast need to be done. That forecast would be coming in the system as PIR. Now I'm using some terminology related to SAP also. Okay, you will get used to it. This is called planned independent requirements. PIR. And from the PIR, from the demand planning, from the forecast, from the planned independent requirements, once it comes into the picture, then you will be doing a planning. That planning can happen through material requirement planning. Okay, which is called MRP. In between, one thing which will come it is your demand management. Where basically all of your planning strategies will come here. We have a different planning strategies. What kind of planning strategy? Whether it's a make to order, whether it's a make to stock. Okay, if it is make to order, how I need to do the planning. If it is make to order, how make to stock and make to order, how the different plannings need to be done. If it is need to be produced based on the project, if you have some project and the requirement is coming from project and I want to produce based on that. So these kind of different planning strategies would be there. By using the planning strategy, by using the forecast, and by checking the all existing things, your MRP will be doing the planning, and MRP would be generating finally that what should be the planned order. Okay, so the outcome of the MRP would be the generation of the planned order, which would be generated by MRP. So that left-hand side part to generate a planned order is your planning. The planning part looks smaller, but it's more complicated. The right-hand side looks bigger, but it would be more straightforward than the left-hand side part. This all planning strategies will go one by one, strategy 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, all strategies will be discussing. By using each of the strategies, the generation of the planned order can be different. Okay, apart from the material requirement planning, there would be a lot of different planning which will come here into the picture. I will try to highlight in a different color. There can be your capacity planning. In advanced session, we'll be going through your predictive planning, predictive MRP planning. Your long-term planning. In an advanced session, we'll also go through the demand-driven MRP. Demand-driven material requirement planning. So all of this part of the planning, okay, which would be controlling, what would be the final control? How you can create a good planned order with the required quantities and the required materials, okay? So that all planning would be doing. So capacity planning would be more linked to your planning of your machines or the work centers. The predictive MRP, long-term planning, and demand-driven MRP planning would be more related to the planning of the materials. So as Manish highlighted, there is two things, right? We plan the machines, and we also we plan the machines, we plan the labor, we plan the material. So capacity planning can handle your labor planning, capacity planning can handle your machine planning, and the MRP, predictive MRP, long-term planning, demand-driven MRP would be handling your materials planning. Okay, so that is the basic difference between the planning, what is there in the planning and what is there in the production. And there would be a lot of things which will be common in both of them, which would be controlling both of them. Apart from the configuration, we'll be having a master data. So that master data would be controlling in both of the processes. So what kind of master data which will be there, which would be controlling the both processes? I will quickly highlight it here. First thing will be there, your material master. Very important, it would be having multiple fields which would be controlling this process also and this process also. Okay, then you will be having your bill of material. Don't need to confuse, we'll be going through each of them in detail. I will explain you what is a bill of material. Bill of material will be controlling, having a control on both of the part. So this is basically what material is required to produce this juice, right? We discussed the bottle will be required, the juice concentrate would be required. That is a bill of material. Then your machines. Which machines are required? Machines you created as a work center. Sorry. Work center. Work center would be used for the execution also and for the planning also. Work center is nothing but your machine. Then bill of material work center. Then we will be creating a routing. Routing is here that which operations will be doing in which sequence. That will be there in production order, right? So routing also would be used in both of them. Then there is more thing, combination of your routing, bill of material, which will be linking both of them together would be your production versions. So this would be the master data required to run this process. Now this full process is the heart of PP. The right hand side is the execution which we want to do it. To do the right hand side execution, we want the left hand side planning. And to maintain both of them together, we need a lot of master data into the system. The material should be there, bill of material should be there, work center should be there, routing should be there, and production version should be there. That's the inherent, the PP module. Okay, that's basically the outcome which we want to get it from this training. So we'll be learning the full part, the right hand side part, the left hand side part, the middle master data part, and apart from that, a lot of configurations would be there to control the process. So that we will be discussing it, okay, in our next session. So we will be ending here our today's session here. Okay, if you guys have any question, you can ask it here. So basically what I have tried to do it today, I have tried to decode our training. Okay, starting from here, what is SAP, what is S4HANA, what is production planning, basics. Okay, one more question which I need to answer is basic. But before I jump and answer you the answer that what is the basics and what would be the advanced, if you have any questions, you can ask it now before I answer the final question of the basics. Any questions, guys, so far?
Hello.
Yeah,
Hello,
yeah,
Parvinder.
please.
This
Yeah,
is
Manish.
here. Okay, so what is the importance of production order confirmation? Actually, I'm an end user and I'm doing confirmation, but I'm not able to relate that why we are doing so. Hello.
Yeah, Manish, I got your question. So the production order confirmation, when we do, we are confirming that the quantity which we are supposed to produce, we have produced, right? In SAP production order confirmation, with the configuration, we can do the multiple things together. So if I will give you example of my current project, in my current project, when we do the production order confirmation, we do the three things together. The goods issue happen when you do the production order confirmation. Good receipt also happen once you do the production order confirmation, and the confirmation on that what actual activities you have consumed. Okay, basically in general, the production order confirmation would be linked with the activities, how much of labor hours actually you have consumed, how much of machine hours you have consumed. Those would be confirmed with the production order confirmation. But we can also automate it to do the goods issue together with the production order confirmation and do the good receipt together with the production order confirmation. So with a single transaction, when you will be clicking it, it will confirm that what machine hours, labor hours we have consumed, what material we have consumed, and what material we have produced. All these things can be happen together with the production order confirmation, depending on the configurations we do.
Okay, Parminder, thank you.
Okay, any other question, guys? Okay, if you don't have any another question, let's now I will explain you that what is this basic. Okay, so basically what, or let me also tell you that what, uh, if you want to jump into SAP PP, what path or what the growth path we suggest. So right now we are on the SAP PP basic. That is the training we are doing as a PPP basic. It will be happening on S4HANA, but we'll be talking about all the basic processes, how the execution need to happen, how the planning need to happen, all the basic processes we'll talk about. Then we'll take it to the next level, which is basically SAP PP Advanced. All the advanced things, your predictive MRP, your DDMRP, the overview of PPDS, okay? All these things we'll be talking about in advance. Usage of the Fiori applications. Basically, this would be the Delta training, that the function and feature which was not there in ECC, but is there in S4HANA. This is for the freshers who are jumping in as a, who has not worked on the PP module as a consultant and having a less than 3 years of experience as a PP consultant. They need to do this training. Or anyone who is looking for PP certification, they also need to do this training. The people who are having a consulting experience more than 3 to 5 years of SAP PP consulting experience, they can jump into the SAP PP Advanced. So once the SAP PP Advanced is done, you can do the multiple other trainings. One training which we suggest is SAP QM, Quality Management. So generally PPQM modules, they people expect that the same consultant would be handling the two modules, PP module also and the QM module also, you would be handling it. So after the PP Advanced, either you do the QM, okay, doing a QM is very good option from here, or you can also do the EAM, Enterprise Asset Management, Plant Maintenance. Many times the PP consultant would also be asked to handle the PM module also, Plant Maintenance module also. One more thing to enhance your things, if from the PP Advanced you want to jump ahead and do the more and make your profile really strong, you can jump into the IBP, Integrated Business Planning. Okay, so from PP basics to the advanced PP, then to the QM, and then to the IBP or EM, and then to the IBP. These are the 3-4 skills if you will add in your profile, or if you will be knowing it, whatever the market condition, Corona is there or anything else is there, you would be the this condition will not be able to shake you. Okay, so this is what we recommend. Go to the PP basic, then go to the advanced, then go to the QM, EM, or go to the IBP trainings. So that's all from the today's session. If you have any question from the today's session, feel free to ask. Okay, before we close our today's session, and then we'll be getting connected again tomorrow's session. Tomorrow's session will be taken by Mr. Vasu, and he will be now jumping into the more details of the enterprise structure in SAP. All the basics has been covered, enterprise structure and how we will be having a client, company code, plant. So that kind of enterprise structure we'll be creating in the system. Any questions, guys, from today's session before we close it? Okay, guys, I hope you have enjoyed today's session. If you don't have any question, we are closing it here for today. We'll connect again tomorrow. Thank you for joining today's session, and have a good day or have a good night. Thank you, and bye-bye for now.